I'm Dr. Sarah Allen. I am in the United States.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Herstory TV and the Herstory podcast. This is Gertrude Matcha here in beautiful Wellington, New Zealand, and I'm graced with the presence of yet another amazing, phenomenal woman coming to us from the United States. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Tell everybody your full name, where you're based, how old you are, and share your story with us today.
Sure. So I'm Dr. Sarah Allen. I am in the United States, in New Jersey, right outside of Philadelphia. And I'm 38 years old, and I'm a pediatric neuropsychologist.
Wonderful. So where does your story begin?
What a great question. So, I think I've looked a lot at this with the pandemic hitting and just really having time to sit back and look at your own story. It's given me a lot of time to consider that. So my story really begins years and years ago on my journey to having kids. I lost 3 children on my way to having my own children. They each lived about an hour. I was blessed with 2 beautiful children now. There was good times, but there were also really difficult times and times that, needed to cope and figure out where my life was going. When you feel like your life is going in this direction and then it takes a quick turn once and then again a second and a third time, it can really, really shake you up. And so that was kind of the beginning of my journey. And then my mother battled cancer twice. And then my sister, more recently in 2018, died of breast cancer at the age of 29. And shortly after that, I got divorced and I moved and just really realized how much the world can shake you up. And I'm a neuropsychologist who studied the brain for over 15 years. And I really had to lean back on that experience, that professional experience, and combine that with my personal experience to really get through some of those times. And then when the pandemic hit and everything shut down, we were stuck with this time. And I realized that after all of that stuff that had happened, I never really processed anything. I just kept moving. Even though my whole job as a clinical psychologist and as a neuropsychologist is processing and is helping people through things, I didn't do it myself. I just didn't have the space or the chance. It was just one thing after another. And so when the pandemic hit, it gave me this time to sit back. My work is mostly in schools, consulting for kids in schools. And so that had shut down. So really it was just me and my children. And I needed to process that stuff. And I realized that processing is a process and you have to work through that. And I didn't have as many of those processes as I wanted to. And once I found them, I realized I don't have them as much to give to my children. And so over the course of time, what I realized is I needed a plan. My kids needed their mom back. And I really needed to find a way to help other families, because other families were coming to me as well, develop a plan for raising their kids. And by the end of the pandemic, I'd written a book called Raising Brains and developed a course for parents called the Little Brain Master Parenting course. And it's really designed to help parents do what I needed to do, which is find yourself as an individual, find yourself as a parent, and find your kids as individuals and combine all of that to have this plan for raising your kids.
Wow. You seem to have lived many, many, many lifetimes in a very short space of time, having to deal with these multiple major traumatic events in your life. And you know what's interesting about the time we're in right now? I feel like this pandemic has helped all of us pause. We're being
Yes.
forced to really face what's happening in your life at this moment in time. And it's an opportunity for people to almost reinvent themselves.
Yeah.
So if you were to go back to that younger you a year ago, this woman was just on the go, 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 constantly moving and not processing, and you could have a conversation with the younger self, what 3 nuggets of wisdom would you give her?
Oh, this is such an interesting question because some of it I feel like I couldn't have heard at that moment. But whenever I think about myself in the past, I want to tell her to slow down and to just experience what's going on around her. And I feel like I'm in that spot for the first time in my life where I'm just now able to really experience and be kind of stable in where I am. And so the first thing I would say would be, it's okay, slow down and just allow kind of some things to happen. I think that that's really important. And although I'm not sure I would have been able to process it at the time, with that slowing down comes the ability to process and comes the ability to really allow yourself to understand what's happening with you and work through it. I didn't realize how much I had been through, like you said, multiple lives almost, until I started writing my book. And then when I wrote it all down on the page, I looked at that and thought, oh my gosh, that looks like a lot of stuff. But, when you're going through it, you're just going through it. You're just getting through it.
And you're just
And
process as
yeah,
you can.
exactly. And so I think, and then the third thing would be what I realized over time is having good friends around you and good people around you, not just personally, but professionally, kind of networking, building yourself up is really a nice place to be, because the more you're talking about what is exciting to you and what you're passionate about, and you're involved with other people's passions, and you're really looking to do good and to be good, wonderful things kind of happen from that. And even if you go through tough times, what I learned through all those tough times is having the good people around me. It's not quantity, it's the quality of those people. We banded, together so much, and I feel so fulfilled in those relationships in my life. And so, making those relationships would be really important. So slowing down, processing, and maintaining and building those relationships really solidly would probably be my three things.
That's wonderful. Now you've come out on the other side and you've developed several products. Let's talk about the book, and then let's talk about your coaching, your mentoring, how you're helping other families deal with situations right now. What can a parent expect from the series of books that you've put out?
So the book is called Raising Brains, and it's a mindful meddling approach is the way I call it, because we're all going to meddle. We just need to do it mindfully. And we want to successfully raise connected kids, right? Kids that build those relationships I just talked about, kids that feel good about the relationships that they're in, they feel happy. And so, it might be a little bit about redefining what success is, that success really is about connectedness and about doing what fuels you. But really what it is it's a program, it's a path, it gives you a manual almost for raising your kids. I often say, if I gave you 3 rules for raising your kids would break all 3 in the first day. So I can't give you this, and this, but I can give you a guide. And that's what it really should be. It should be a guide for raising kids. We have to get a license to drive a car, and we have to jump through all these hoops to get your doctorate and these things. But you have a child and they just say, here you go, take this child and go raise it. And I remember when I went home with my daughter, I thought, oh my gosh, where's the manual? Somebody give me, and I'd studied the brain for 15 years, and I'm like, come on, give me the manual. And so, this is really meant to be a plan. And I encourage parents to make a parenting plan. And I describe methods for doing that in my book in hopes of helping them really find their own manual, create their own versions so that they can really mindfully meddle in their kids' lives and raise happy brains that are going to be successful and connected in the future.
I love that. Mindful meddling. I will never forget that phrase again. Yeah, because sometimes we do meddle, but very unconsciously.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah.
If you do it deliberately and with the right intention, I think as parents, we'll probably do a better job in helping our children. And
Right.
now, what about the program that you've developed?
Yeah, so I have a Little Brain Master Parenting course, and it's the next extension from the book, because it's great to kind of see, oh, well, this is how you should do it. And I think there's really great tips in the book to kind of guide parents. But I don't know about you, but me as a mom, I need a dream team. I need help implementing all of those things. So this is the next level from that book. And it's really designed to do a couple things. One is help people understand what I'm talking about in the book and what the content is. And again, the next level, the explanations to a lot of what you'll read in the book, in more detail and in a very practical, applied way. And then it also has coaching, weekly coaching sessions so that we can really help to apply that to everybody's specific setting, which I love. So I love the application to it. And then the other piece that it does is connect you to a community of moms who are going through this same thing and who can really give you their best tips for how they applied this or for how they're raising their little brains. So we kind of have the community as well as that, that information piece to the course.
And I think with COVID right now, the need for community is so much bigger.
Yes.
We're all trying to do what we can do from wherever we are, but if we can have other people who are in our world, so to speak, the parenting world is yours right now. I'm lucky all my kids are grown up and they've left home, but it's pretty challenging right now.
Yes.
From home, doing it in isolation, not being able to connect to other people.
Yeah, it's
So
interesting. I actually call COVID one of the best teachable moments we can have. And I know that that sounds weird, but from COVID, we've really learned what happens when you think your life is going in this way and it turns in this way. And that was my experience with other things. And so I often tell parents that use this as the teachable moment. Teach your kids how to get through these things and what to do about it. And look what's happened here. I mean, the world has opened up to us. I can talk about raising little brains to people all over the world instead of just in my area at a talk in person. I can help people all over the world with a virtual course. I mean, these are things we weren't doing as much prior to COVID. So we can't save our kids from everything that's going to happen to them. We know that. But we can use this as a teachable moment and use some of the information that I provide in the book about how to help with some coping skills and how to build your child's little brain and use the opportunity to build their brains. Not only do you have the opportunity of the experience, but you're home. And so you're there to do it. The world stopped a bit. And so, it's the best teachable moment we could actually have.
it sure is. So I'm going to take you now into your future.
Ooh, okay.
If time was an illusion and the past, the present, the future could exist in the same timeline and you can teleport into the past and go into the future, if you were to sit in your rocking chair at the age of 100 and you've got your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, based on how you have lived your life up to that point, what would you say to the older you?
Oh, what would I say to the older me? I love this question too, because I always say when I'm reading different people's work in my field or outside of my field, I always say if we could start from where people in the field ended and then go, it would be we'd be so much further ahead. We all have to get there ourselves, right? Like we all have to do that. So, I hope I would tell my older self that I tried to be as patient as I could, that I went through and learned a lot and I tried to kind of be the best that I could be, as I got there. And I'm hoping that they would tell me, what a wonderful experience my life had been up to that point by slowing down and really focusing on not just raising my kids' little brain, but raising my own brain and finding myself as an individual and as a woman in business and in the clinical world and all of that really has come together for me at my age now. And so I hope that that continues to grow, where I get comfortable in my own skin and in my ability to kind of express what's happened to me and help build other people up around me. So I hope when I'm up there's a big community of other women feeling really supported by me and supporting me back. And maybe it'll be a big party. I don't know. Hopefully we won't have COVID then. And so it'll be really fun.
That is awesome. Wow. Thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us today and creating these tools that parents are really searching for right now in terms of helping their kids when they're at home. And thank you to everybody who's tuned in. I told you we have some amazing ladies who are stepping forward, sharing their stories, sharing their knowledge. Come back again tomorrow when I interview yet another amazing woman from a completely different part of the world. But have a fantastic day wherever you are right now. And thank you again, Sarah.
Thanks for having me.